Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and NewsChannel 5.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast today. You know, the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center has several community initiatives in place right now to fight cancer, and the center director, Dr. Stanton Gerson, is here to talk more about these efforts. Later on today, we will hear from Dr. Alan Lerner, a researcher at University Hospital's Brain Health and Memory Center. And on the broadcast after that, Jennifer Halliburton will join me to talk about Triumph Magazine. It's a free publication for Greater Clevelanders. Good morning again, everybody. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope, and so we beginning with one of the real heroes, man I've interviewed a few times, Dr. Stanton Gerson, who's director of the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center, one of our heroic efforts here in town. Good to have you with us.
Leon, it's great to be here with you today.
Yeah. Tell me, what is the mission of the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center?
So very briefly, it's a cancer center that's designated by the National Cancer Institutes in Washington, D.C., to organize cancer research in the city of Cleveland. So let me tell you very briefly just how important this initiative is. First, we've been an NCI-designated cancer center since 1987. We bring together the Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, and Case Western. It started the latter two. We brought in the clinic about 11 years ago. And we coordinate cancer research. We're one of only 41 designated cancer centers by the federal government in the city of Cleveland. There's only 40 other ones around the country, so it's a big deal that we're so designated. And we have funds from the federal government to help us to support our outreach efforts into the community and our basic science and our clinical trials activities.
That's a heroic effort in alone, just getting Case Western Reserve University, University Hospitals, and the Cleveland Clinic all in the same room talking the same language.
We do it. All of our scientific programs, all of our clinical trials, all of our community outreach efforts are now coordinated by this organization.
So how is that impacting the everyday lives of people here in the Greater Cleveland area?
So we can do things that we just couldn't do as individual entities. We funnel our research programs through into clinical trials. We are doing some really creative work in the community to cut down the rates and incidence and the complications of cancer for early detection and the like. And we bring the strengths of the three institutions together to let us do that.
Dr. Gerson, I know you're working with individuals to preventive cancer, tobacco use, and that kind of thing. Tell me about those efforts, how that fits into what you're doing at Case Comprehensive Cancer Center.
So the Cancer Center has organized efforts and research programs with the support of the CDC to look in the city of Cleveland about at smoking rates. And the one thing that we've identified is that there's an unregulated use of small cigars. You can buy a single small cigar if you're 15 years old at the corner shop, and you can walk out of that store and have your cigar. It's worse than a cigarette. It's easy access, and we have to cut it down.
I'm old enough to remember when the Surgeon General put that stamp on the side of a pack of cigarettes saying, this can cause cancer, don't do this, this is bad for your health. Why haven't we done that with the little cigars if they're even worse than the cigarettes?
Well, that's a major issue of regulation. What we did through the Comprehensive Cancer Center is to point out the issue. So we've identified who's got access, who's smoking, and the prevalence of the use of those small cigars. And we're hoping that, in fact, this will lead to a much more powerful ability to regulate them as they should be. And the other side of that, for instance, is e-cigarettes, because we're worried that e-cigarettes, although there may be an easy access and entrance into the smoking area, they're the precursor to then people using tobacco products.
I know you're over to Seidman Cancer Center, and you've got the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center, and working with the clinic and Case Western and University Hospitals. Are we making inroads into cancer?
We certainly are, and there are a number of initiatives that we have that are helping at every level that you can imagine. We have new drugs that are coming out of our discoveries in the laboratories that are going into patients now in early phase trials. We have a number of initiatives that we just didn't have before that allow us to bring new agents from anywhere in the world here to Cleveland for clinical trials. Sandy Markowitz just published a paper looking at why is it that African American men with colon cancer survive less well, why their disease is so different. And he's identified genes that are specific to African Americans who develop colon cancer. And that'll allow us to come up with new treatments and early detection methods for those individuals.
You are positive that we are moving in the right direction, certainly with the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center. This will help us at least put everybody in the greater Cleveland area in the same room.
So absolutely correct, and we are as advanced as anywhere in the country. There's just no reason for anyone with a diagnosis of cancer, worried about cancer in their family, to leave Northeast Ohio. We're as good as it gets.
The President Obama's got a personalized medicine initiative impact. That has given you some impetus and some power as well, hasn't it?
So we have done careful genetic testing on almost 1,000 patients right here in the city of Cleveland at the two hospitals, at Taussig and at Seidman, to understand their individual cancers and what's wrong with them and help us come up with better treatments. We're going to be expanding that genomics analysis, which is really the personalized medicine approach to understand the genetic abnormalities in the tumors. And we're also initiating a program, which I'm very excited about, to look at high risk for cancer families. Too many of our families have many cancers in them and we don't know the cause. We're going to be starting a program where we start genetically analyzing those families.
In our final 30 seconds, let me ask you, what is your advice to families, to individuals who may be watching us right now?
Well, first of all, they have to take their own lives into control and manage their risks and their lifestyles. The second is, no matter how healthy you are or how bad your lifestyle is, you need to undergo the proper screening. If you're smoking, you need to get a lung CT. Women need to get their mammograms, men need to get their prostates examined, and everybody needs a colonoscopy or another test to rule out colon cancer.
Many thanks, Dr. Stanton Gerson, who's director of the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center. Good to have you on the broadcast, my friend.
Thanks, Leon.
Good to see you again. We've talked over the years about cancer and all kinds of things like that, but many thanks. Good to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
The doctors in the house, we're all feeling a lot better because of that, too. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. Up next, with a new study on Alzheimer's disease after these words, especially for you. Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope. University Hospital's Brain Health and Memory Center is about to begin a study on a new drug to test if it can slow the progress of Alzheimer's disease. Neurologist Dr. Alan Lerner is here to tell us more about the study and why the focus is on African Americans. Good to have you with us, Doc.
Thank you, Leon.
Things are well at the University Hospital's Brain and Memory Center?
Yes, we're a unit that's devoted to promoting brain health, which is really a concept of wellness across the lifespan, and in particular with older people, dementia, memory loss is a major problem. And I think that memory loss really is so important because memory is bound up with identity, who we are.
Who we are, where we've been, and all of that.
That is, to a large extent, who we are, is our memory of who we are.
Yeah. Well, you've just completed a study now. Tell me about this study, and you focus specifically on African Americans. Tell me about that.
This is what's called the A4 study, and also known as the anti-amyloid treatment for asymptomatic Alzheimer's disease. And this is an ongoing study, and the idea is that we're trying to prevent the memory loss associated with Alzheimer's disease. So what we're doing is looking at people between age 65 and 85 who have a memory concern, not a dementia, not an ongoing memory loss, but really are well. And one of the things that we've learned is that some of the changes in the brain can be detected years before any memory problems actually
Before
occur.
we get there.
And the idea is to see if we can't forestall that process.
Why African Americans specifically?
Well, the National Institutes of Health has a mandate to include the entire population in their studies. And so in order to have this reflect the entire population of the United States, we're aiming to get about 20% minority recruitment over the 60 sites that are in the United States.
So you're looking for recruits?
That's correct.
Just like the military. Uncle Sam wants you. Or what?
We need, you know, every medicine that you can think of that you take, whether it's Flomax or an antihypertensive, or has gone through a similar process of clinical studies where people look to see what does it work.
So who do you need in this study now?
Well, particularly people between age 65 and 85.
Who think they might have a memory consideration.
Right. Or many of them have a family history.
Yeah.
And then we're looking to see whether they may actually qualify for this study.
Are we making inroads with Alzheimer's?
I think we've learned a huge amount about Alzheimer's. I think the comparison with cancer is actually quite important. We've poured billions of dollars into cancer research, starting with Richard Nixon and the war on cancer. And Dr. Gerson was very upbeat about this.
Yeah, he was upbeat about it, and as are you.
I am upbeat, but the truth is that no new drugs have been approved in the United States for Alzheimer's disease since 2003. So that's over 10 years.
Is there anything that we can do to perhaps push it back or offset it during our non-Alzheimer's years?
Well, I think that lifestyle is also very important. A good diet. People are also focusing on things like physical exercise as an important thing, because we know that what's good for the heart is good for the brain.
Yeah.
So diet, exercise, lifestyle variables, things like smoking turn out to be bad for the brain.
Maybe that's why I eat salmon twice a week at least, sometimes 3 times a week, because I'm told that it's a good food. How do we get involved in this study now? If somebody wants to get involved in this study.
Well, there's the website, a4study.org, or they can call our center at 216-464-6449.
We've got that number on the screen, that website as well on the screen if you're interested in this. Are we seeing more instances of Alzheimer's because we, as a people, are living longer?
Absolutely.
That's part of it. In 1900, the average age for death, I think, was 51 or 52-ish, somewhere in there. But now we are seeing people well into their 90s, well approaching 100, if not more. So we're seeing more aging, so more Alzheimer's.
Right. And I think we're seeing that in many other age-related diseases. We see more eye disease in the elderly. We see more brain problems, stroke, diabetes, hypertension. All of these seem to increase with age.
It's Alzheimer's across the board, racially, ethnically, socially, all of that.
There's nobody who's immune.
Nobody who is immune. You're excited about this study, the A4 study. What do you want to come out of this study, Dr. Allen?
I'd like to prevent Alzheimer's disease, real severe memory loss. What we've learned is that memory loss is really the last thing that happens, that this is a process that starts in the brain possibly 2 to 3 decades before any symptoms, and advances in biomedical science have allowed us to recognize who may be at increased risk, and so the idea is to intervene early. We know this works in heart disease, we know it works in cancer, we know it works in infectious disease, so there's every reason to think that it may well work in Alzheimer's disease.
Once again, you can find more information out there if you go to A4 Study, that's A, number 4, numeral 4, study.org. It's at the bottom of the screen, or you can make a phone call to UH at University Hospital's Brain Health and Memory Center, 216-464-6449. More information on everything we're talking about. And by the way, all of this is on our website as well. You can go to newsnet5.com and click on Kaleidoscope and see this entire broadcast in its entirety. Many thanks.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Allen Lerner, neurologist from UH's Brain Health and Memory Center.
Thank you very much.
Tell everybody at University Hospitals we said hi.
Okay, will do.
Taking a break right now. In a moment, we'll hear about a free community-based publication. I'm Leon Bibb. I'll return in a moment. Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope today. Triumph Magazine, a free publication, is available to residents of Northeast Ohio. Its editor, Jennifer Halliburton, is here to tell us more about the publication and its impact on the greater Cleveland community. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you? Good, thank you.
Good. Things are well with Triumph Magazine.
Very good, thank you. 6 years now.
Yeah, 6 years you've been putting it out?
Yeah. We're very fortunate, both to the community that we serve, but also just people, business owners, corporate, small business, otherwise, who recognize the merit of it.
Yeah. You were telling me you publish about every 2 months or so?
Yeah, every 2 months.
And possibly positive stories in the community about all kinds of people.
Yeah, so the whole point from the beginning was to, number one, offer representation for our community and others that are worthwhile, but that just didn't have any sort of professional, polished, positive publication. And then again, to make sure that that reflection was a positive one, so that we can see all the great people in our community who are using whatever they're passionate about to move us forward in a positive way.
What was your inspiration for this for this magazine?
Really, it's our community. That's the great thing about it, is that we don't have to travel very far. There's so many great things going on in our community and so many people who do them that it can fill a whole magazine every 2 months and really make it entertaining, informative, and we're very fortunate. Craig and I, who's the publisher, you know, we have a background in doing publications, so we just use that passion, the things that we've learned, the experience, and also the positive energy that we have for the community to make Triumph, and people have responded really well.
Oh, you take on all kinds of subjects. I see. This one here we're looking at right here. You about the don't shoot, hands up situation that
and actually we did that even before all the protests and demonstrations came here to Cleveland. It was something that obviously that was happening nationwide and that deserved to be talked about, something that was definitely on everyone's minds in our community. But our thing is always, at the same time as we talk about some of these issues that are negative, to offer a positive slant, figure out how to move forward.
Yeah, and you got some of the people here. Here's a young woman who's in television. In our area here. Again,
it's everything from topical, more hard-hitting issues like the don't shoot, all the way to personality profiles. That was fun things to do in our areas during the holidays. So it's again, black-owned businesses that are in there, people in our community who are doing positive things and really making their mark in some way.
There's Hillary Golston from WKYC.
Absolutely, yeah. And then you and Danita were kind of nice to be included in the Don't Shoot feature as far as...
Danita has been in the magazine. I've been in the magazine.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to bring the magazine that had my picture on the cover.
It's all right.
That's just a little too.
No,
I'll let
it's
somebody
quite all right.
else talk about
Again,
that.
it's you're from your background in Glenville, the things, the adversity that you've overcome, and to where you are today. It speaks to, you know, inspiring people in our community of... The magazine's called Triumph, inspiration, persistence, and ultimately success.
Where can people get copies of the magazine?
You know, we're all over. We go about as far west as Lakewood into the west side of Cleveland, and as far east as Oakwood Village and beyond. It's everything. One of the things that makes the magazine unique is that not only is it in neighborhood spots like your salons and barbershops and restaurants and daycares, but it's also in places like Boston Market, Lane Bryant, Radio Shack, Foot Locker. We get into national chains.
Yeah, maybe we can get a shot of this.
Yeah, definitely.
It's nothing wrong with putting Leon, Bibb, and Danita in the same picture. We'll get a shot of this in a little bit. What do you see for the future for the magazine?
You know, and the great thing is that we get asked all the time, is like, oh, have you ever thought of going elsewhere with it? Because there is definitely a model there. We definitely used our experience and background to figure out the best way to collect this information and present it to people in a way that's palatable and that'll keep them entertained. So, number one, we'll continue to do that here in our city, where we're from, and make sure that we represent people in a positive way. But then number two, just expanding on that. You know, Akron, further afield, there are African Americans who are doing their best and really doing it well, professionally, and really passionate about the things that they offer and moving our community positively forward. And so we just want to be able to spotlight those people and get more people on board with the magazine, too.
This is a free magazine, so people can pick it up at all, as you said, many places throughout Northeast Ohio.
Absolutely.
Now, you make the money to publish it through your advertising.
Correct,
that's how it works.
Like any free publication, it's something where the advertising pays for the cost of printing it. And like I said, we've been very fortunate. Even this current issue, the Black History Month issue, is reflective of something that is also unique about the magazine, our ability to get both small businesses and corporations. So you have people like ESOP, Dominion East Ohio, Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, you know, Faith Community Credit Union. At the same time, you have small businesses. We have a whole natural hair section where people like Monica Green, SLP Curly Straight, Paradise Natural, which is a product line, a woman on Larchmere who owns a salon called Significant Change. Small businesses, large businesses, finding a way for them both to benefit and both to serve our community. So yeah, it's the advertising from those people funds the publication, and we couldn't be more grateful.
We've got a phone number on the screen where you can reach get more information from Jennifer Halliburton, who's editor of Triumph magazine. 216-526-3044 is the phone number, or you can go to bridge-ed.org. bridge-ohio.com, bridge-ohio.com.
Right.
More information on everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is quite an effort when you put out a magazine. This is not easy work.
It is not. You know, we take pride in the fact that people think that that it's effortless, because it's definitely, there's a lot of energy, a lot of momentum, a lot of late nights, definitely a lot of years behind it, and a lot of experience and education behind it too. But again, what propels us, what drives us forward, is the passion that we have for both publishing and our community, and serving both of those in a way that it deserves. It's really positive and moves us forward in a good way.
Many thanks, Jennifer
Thank you.
Halliburton,
We appreciate
editor
it.
of Triumph Magazine.
Thank you.
Okay. Good to have you on the broadcast, as always.
Thank
and
you.
good to have your publication in my hands.
And we appreciate your support.
As it's there all the time. Every
Thank
2 weeks,
you.
Every 2 months, I should say. Coming up as we continue, we'll have Marsha Maccabee of the Urban League, who will bring special thoughts about the Urban League of Greater Cleveland in just a moment. Time for the president and the CEO of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, your friend and mine, Marsha Maccabee, who's always got something interesting to say.
Well, thank you, Leon, and what a great forum this is to be able to say it in. So we're truly grateful for this partnership and for this opportunity.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what's really been on my mind a lot this week. In and out of meetings that I've been in this week, and different boards that I sit on, and community efforts that I sit on, there's been a lot of discussion about the need for us to re-educate our community about the kinds of jobs that really exist here now in the greater Cleveland area, Cuyahoga County. There's been such a change from the days when we were sort of a Rust Belt city. We had, of course, all of our manufacturing and those kinds of jobs, especially during the Great Migration when people from the South came here.
Yeah.
But the landscape has changed, and what we're seeing is that we really need to re-educate our community about the need for the appropriate education levels in order to participate in the kind of many jobs that are open here, and also to just have them understand what these industries really represent now and how different they are.
There are jobs out there if you are qualified in specific areas.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I want our viewing audience to understand is that these medical institutions that we have here and many of the educational facilities that we have here, they must have workers. They're going to get them from somewhere. And that's why we need to invest in the people that are here.
And if you are not one of those people qualified, they'll find somebody else.
That's exactly
So
right.
get in the qualifications pop line as we wind up in our discussion
that.
here.
That's good.
Oh, use my lines. I'm using yours all the time.
That's good.
Take care, everybody. We got to go. Bye-bye.
Public Affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.